We come to another term known as complex. It is an assemblage or mixture of rocks of two or more than two genetic classes, that is sedimentary, igneous and metamorphic. An example of the word complex in Indian stratigraphy is the banded gneissic complex. The word complex is unranked, that means I cannot say that complex lies above formation or below formation. We cannot say whether a complex consists of several lithodems or one lithodem can consist of several complexes. That is the meaning of the sentence, that the complex word is unranked. We do not rank it, but comparable with suit and supersuit. The next point is complex can be comparable with suits and supersuits. In a complex, the original sequence of rock is difficult to establish. For example, the original sequence of rock, the layers etc. might be destroyed, and that can be a suitable case of defining the term complex. But here is an exception. When we say banded gneissic complex, invariably we are indicating that there are layers, bands. Gneiss itself consists of gneissosity. Volcanic complex, what does it mean? A diverse assemblage of extrusive volcanic rocks. Structural complex, tectonic processes, example, what are the tectonic processes? Shearing, faulting etc. can produce heterogeneous mixture of or disrupted bodies of rocks in which few individual components are too small to be mapped. What is the scale of this mapping? Not said. So, there is a subjectivity. So, not in all the structurally disturbed terrains the term structural complex can be used. Structural complex is to be used in a place where structures are there, deformation has happened and the heterogeneous mixture has taken place. Do not use the term complex if any neotectonic processes produce this mixing. That is important. What is the meaning of the word basement complex? Rocks of complicated structures underlying a less deformed dominantly sedimentary sequence is called the basement complex. When I have discussed the basement cover relationship in one of the previous lectures, and such a diagram was presented simplistically that this is the basement and here is the cover material, we are referring to this basement as a complex. Commonly the basement complex is of igneous or metamorphic rocks. What is a series? Though we are calling it discouraged to use, but it has been there in the Indian stratigraphic literature and also in the old literature of stratigraphy elsewhere. It is an assemblage of lithodems or lithodems and soot together from a Precambrian terrain, not from any other ages. Precambrian means before the Cambrian or the older than the Cambrian rocks. That means the Archean and Proterozoic rocks. Also for a sequence of rocks resulting from a succession of eruptions or intrusions. So, eruptive rocks and the intrusive rocks will be included within this. An example is the Rayalo series. Let us see the use of the term complex in Indian stratigraphy. As an example, I have picked up the banded gneissic complex, BGC in short. The age of the BGC rock has been dated to be Paleo to Neo-Archean. In the geological time scale, I have explained what is the meaning of Paleo-Archean and what is the meaning of the Neo-Archean. This banded gneissic complex has been described by Naha and others as the only gneissic basement in India. Here is the Archean basement, and within that a part of it is BGC 1, banded gneissic complex 1. For this reason, it has been called as the only gneissic basement in India. Let us look at this map. In this, that is the southern Indian boundary, that is the capital Delhi. This is the region which has been shown in this map, mostly covering the place Rajasthan. This is a spelling mistake found in the publication. It is Nagaur in Rajasthan. Pali, Jodhpur, Sirohi, Chittorgarh Agucha, Jahazpur, these are all located in Rajasthan, such as Alwar, Ajmer. In this place, the term complex is also found here, Sandmata complex in Rajasthan stratigraphy and in Indian stratigraphy, where banded gneissic complex 2 is present, which means the BGC rocks of two ages have been worked out. One is BGC 1, which is a part of the Archean basement, very old rock, and younger than that BGC 2 has been worked out. Let us look at where the Sandmata complex is present. Here is the Sandmata hill, and here in this region the Sandmata complex exists. BGC in several places are the folded migmatic layers. This is the field photograph. We can work out the folds, intricate folds over here, and these are basically migmatites. More folded layer you can track here or there. Let us see the use of the term series from Indian stratigraphy. Just one of the examples, let us consider the Eastern Ghat mobile belt. This is the map of India, and the Eastern Ghat mobile belt has been shown within this. That is the eastern coast, and this is the boundary of the Eastern Ghat, which has been zoomed. Just for the information, east of the Eastern Ghat is the Bay of Bengal, and west of it over here is the Bastar Craton, and then over here is the Dharwar Craton, and as you go down or south is the Kadapa basin. At the northeast portion of the Eastern Ghat mobile belt is the Shingbhum Craton. Now, within this Eastern Ghat mobile belt, Khondalite series has been defined. Here we see the use of the word series. Khondalite series means basically three kinds of rock assemblages. It can be metamorphosed argillaceous rocks, which includes the garnet gneiss, garnet sillimanite cordierite gneiss. The second variety is the metamorphosed siliceous rocks. Examples are quartzite, garnet bearing quartzite, magnetite quartzite, and diopside quartzite. And the third variety of the Khondalite series is the metamorphosed calcareous members, which includes calgranulites, diopside granite gneisses, phlogopyrite schists, and crystalline limestones. Where the Khondalite series can be found, let us look at this map. We have got western Khondalite zone, the eastern Khondalite zone. So, here the Khondalite series of rocks appearance within the map has been made in terms of zones. A single series of rock has been plotted in the map as zones. The eastern Khondalite zone is located here, and the western Khondalite zone is located over there and here, and several isolated outcrops. Now, let us look at the Charnockite series of rock that is plotted in this map over here, the western Charnockite zone. Charnockite is basically hypersine granite. Once we say Charnockite series, it will include not just Charnockite, but diorite, gabbro, norite, amphibolite, and pyroxenite. Within the map, we can see the western Charnockite zone is here and is here, few plots here, and then some isolated exposures. I have given you example of series and zone from the Indian context. Once we look at the Eastern Ghat mobile belt from India, the word complex can be found within the map in terms of ophiolite complex, alkaline complex, and anorthosite complex. These are the ophiolite complexes. These are some of the alkaline complexes, and this is the anorthosite complex. Let us take another Indian example of the use of the term series from western Indian state Rajasthan. Here we are going to talk about the Rayalo series. The Rayalo series, the term includes two kinds of rocks, quartzites and marbles. Stratigraphic succession wise, the bottommost unit is the banded gneissic complex, over which lies the Berach granite, then lies the Aravalli supergroup, then comes the Delhi supergroup. In between Delhi supergroup and Aravalli supergroup lies the Sandmata complex. Younger than Delhi supergroup is the Malani rhyolite. Further younger units are the Marwar supergroup. This is the geological time stated. 2500 million year is the Archean Proterozoic boundary. What was earlier described as a Rayalo series by Heron in 1953, later stratigraphers renamed it as the Ryan-Halla group and they included it within the Delhi supergroup in the North Delhi fold belt. In this stratigraphic succession, here is the Delhi supergroup, a part of it think as the North Delhi fold belt, and here is the map symbol of the North Delhi fold belt and it is located here, which means somewhere in this place the Rayalo series was defined and later it was renamed as Ryan-Halla group. I repeat, now it is included within the Delhi supergroup North Delhi fold belt. How to name the different stratigraphic units? Here we need to follow the codes of stratigraphic nomenclature. This was prepared by the American Commission of Stratigraphic Nomenclature ACSN in 1961, and there is also a committee on stratigraphic nomenclature as old as 1933. Then there are other committees. I am not writing a historical review here. One of the popular stratigraphic code is the North American Stratigraphic Code, but different countries have developed their own stratigraphic codes. For example, Geological Survey of India has developed the Indian Stratigraphic Code, which is available from the Geological Survey of India office. If you abbreviate Geological Survey of India as GSI, this may be misleading for the international readers because GSI also can be the Geological Survey of Israel and the Geological Survey of Iran. So, when you write for the international journals, it is better to write Geological Survey of India in full form. Few terms we have to be very clear. What is the meaning of the term isochronous? This means two events E1 and E2 of same duration. For example, E1 event started at 40 million year back and ended 20 million year back, so that the duration D1 is 20 million year. Consider another event E2 which started 80 million year back, that means much older than 40 million year back start of the E1 event, and it ended at 60 million year. In this case, the duration of E2 is given by D2 is equal to 80 minus 60 is equal to 20 million year. Since the D1 and D2 are the same, we can say that E1 and E2 are isochronous. What about the word synchronous? Two events occurring together, let us say from 90 million year back to 85 million year back, that means for the time range of 5 million year, E1 and E2 were happening together contemporaneously or coevally, then E1 and E2 are called the synchronous events. This means in the stratigraphic nomenclature we have to be very alert that the meaning of the word synchronous and isochronous are different. Here synchronous and isochronous terms have been explained in terms of two events E1 and E2. These are the geological events. We can also take more than two events to explain isochronous and synchronous terms. Few more definitions. What is the meaning of isochronous bodies? Here bodies means we are talking about the rock bodies. These are the bound by synchronous surfaces and formed during the same span of time. What is the meaning of the term isochron? It is a line connecting points of equal edge. This is of course an imaginary line. Suppose in a stratigraphic column we have understood this horizon indicates x million year, and in another stratigraphic column we have understood x million year by geochronologic means. Then we can join a line, this dashed line indicates an isochron. What is the meaning of the term diachronous? This word we will be using several times. It is a rock unit, it is not imaginary, with one or two bounding surfaces which are not synchronous. Consider a rock column at location A, another rock column at location B. Now consider here is a rock A exposed and here also rock A is exposed. Now this is the lower boundary, that is the upper boundary, here it is the lower boundary and that is the upper boundary. One or two bounding surfaces, the bounding surfaces are L and U, L dash and U dash. Suppose L and L dash are of different time, this represents x million year, whereas this represents y million year, and here it is z million year, but here it is same as z million year. So, this is one case where the upper boundaries can be joined by a line, but of course, the lower boundaries being of different edges we cannot join by a line. So, in this case the rock body small a at location A and the rock body small a at location B are diachronous. Now, I will take the second possibility, two bounding surfaces, one bounding surface explained. Now, imagine the upper bounding surface here is of z1 million year age and here the age is z2 million year. So, this is a case where neither the bottom boundary L and L dash nor the upper boundaries U dash match. So, this is also a case where the rock small a is diachronous. Rock body small a at location A and the rock body small a at location B, and in this case be it a single bounding surface of different edges of or two bounding surfaces of different edges, we say that the boundary or the boundaries transgress the time. What is the meaning of the term correlation? This correlation word was used in the very first lecture of stratigraphy by me. It is the procedure of demonstrating correspondence between geographically separated parts of a geological unit. Homotaxy is the similarity in separate regions of the serial arrangement or succession of strata of comparable compositions or of included fossils. And similarity in succession does not mean age equivalence. The word homotaxy is introduced in this way. Here at location A we have a stratigraphic succession, at another geographic location B the stratigraphic succession is found that this can consist of rocks A, B, C, small a, small b and small c, and here also small a, small b and small c. Based on the lithic characters we may be able to say that these rocks small a, small b, small c at location capital A and small a, small b, small c at location capital B are comparable, can be correlated, and therefore, these rocks and in the two locations A and B display homotaxy. Now, instead of lithic character we can also use the included fossils for that purpose. Now, similarity in succession does not prove age equivalence, and this point I have been referring in this NPTEL presentation. Going ahead with few more definitions, stratum word comes very frequently while dealing with sedimentary layers. It is a layer, generally a tabular body of rock or sediment characterized by certain unifying characters or properties or attributes that distinguish it from the adjacent layer. Consider a block of rock and within that some physical attribute property understood to be uniform, and then we demarcate a zone and then this can be called as a stratum. Note this word we are discussing in stratigraphy, but it does not come in the formal definition of the lithostratigraphic unit. What are the formal units? Formation, group, supergroup, and below formation is member and bed. The adjacent strata may be separated by visible planes of bedding or less perceptible boundaries of change in lithology, mineralogy, fossil content, chemical composition, physical properties, or any other properties. The physical properties of rocks can be found from the engineering geological laboratory. This can be the Young's modulus Y or E. This can be the Poisson's ratio. A much simpler physical property is the density of the rock. The chemical composition can be found from the geochemistry lab. The CaO, MgO, L2O3, Na2O, K2O, I mean the different oxides percentages, weight percentages can be obtained. Also information about the isotopes can be obtained. In the geochronological studies, in the chronostratigraphic succession, we will be dealing with the chemical property of the rocks in terms of isotopes in more detail. What is a stratigraphic unit? It is a stratum or assemblage of adjacent strata with distinct entity. This is the most generalized definition. So, this stratigraphic unit, as I have been emphasizing, can be formation, the fundamental unit, group, supergroup, or member or bed. Some common property has to be there. Let us look at how the formal stratigraphic terms are written. Barakar formation, Barakar is a location, B in capital, formation F has to be in capital. And if I am writing Cretaceous system, C has to be capital, system S has to be capital. In terms of the informal stratigraphic term, chalky formation, here C is small and F is small. So, in the geological literature, if you find F in capital for formation, it means it is a formal stratigraphic unit. And you were doing field work, you found a sandstone layer and you simply call it a sandstone formation, then F is small. That means you have not taken care of the entire terrain's detailed study, which sandstone is most typical, does it fulfill the criterion of formation as per International Stratigraphic Code, and you just wrote it down. So, then F is small. However, here is a word of caution. I have been checking with the international publishers. Unfortunately, when the author is writing, let us say X formation, the proofreader is changing this to small f. This has created a very big confusion. So, one has to be very alert. Just like chalky formation, C and F in small, if I say oyster zone, O will be small and zone Z will be small. O will be of small letter and Z again of small letter, and this indicates informal stratigraphic term. How to name the geologic units in stratigraphy? A compound nomenclature is followed. First, we use a geographic term such as Talchir is a location in India, and the appropriate rank formation, Talchir formation together represents the stratigraphic unit. We have to avoid duplication of the names. For example, from the lower Shivalik group, Kamlial formation has been defined. So, this means we should not use the term Kamlial member. If we have used, let us say X formation, then this X word cannot be used in defining member, bed, group and supergroup. Geographic names are not translated. For example, suppose a French geologist has written the location name Y, and in the English dictionary there is a chance of translating Y. Do not translate. However, suppose a Japanese geologist has described from his terrain a rock type capital P, then this P must be translated, rock names to be translated. The word zone is a minor stratigraphic interval in any category of stratigraphic classification. For example, lithozone in lithostratigraphy, biozone we are going to see in biostratigraphy, chronozone we are going to see in chronostratigraphy, mineral zone, metamorphic zone. This term metamorphic zone will come in the metamorphic petrology books. Zones of reverse magnetic polarity, this I will be covering in magnetostratigraphy. If the word zone is used formally, then Z has to be capital, and if the word zone is used informally, then let us say X zone. This means it is an informal term, but as I told you, the international publishers, proofreaders are rampantly making capital F of formation to small f. So, one has to be very alert. Interval. There are two kinds of interval, stratigraphic interval and geochronological interval. Stratigraphic interval means actual rock strata, body of strata between two stratigraphic markers, and geochronological interval is the time span between two geological events. Horizon is an interface indicative of particular position in a stratigraphic sequence. Commonly it is distinctive thin bed. Horizon is not commonly a member, horizon is not commonly a group or supergroup or a formation, it is usually a distinctive thin bed. Note that bed is the lowest unit in stratigraphy. The other terms are level, datum, marker, marker bed and key bed, all these are informal terms. What are the formal terms? I repeat, formation, group, supergroup, and then below formation member and bed. These terms are none of them. Using of the word horizon in lithostratigraphy is lithohorizon, in biostratigraphy biohorizon, in chronostratigraphy chronohorizon, in seismic stratigraphy seismic horizon, in geophysical stratigraphic techniques electrolog horizon. Boundary of stratigraphic units can define horizons, or a horizon can also be defined inside a unit. Suppose there is a stratigraphic unit and nothing is said here, what is that unit? So, this means it can be formation or member, for example. So, the upper boundary can be called as a horizon H1, the bottom boundary can be called as a horizon H2, but within this unit it is also possible inside it a horizon H3 is defined.